Hello and welcome to Convos with Chloe. So today we are going to talk about how to ignore that text from your ex. So I thought this was a topic that really needed to come up because now that I'm back in the single world and dating, this seems to happen quite a bit, especially if you're a good woman. If you're a good woman and something has occurred with you with the guy, he's going to most likely come back at some point. And so it has happened to me a couple of times, and it made me think about how I'm sure this has happened to you all a couple of times too, and how to handle it, because sometimes it can be very tempting, especially if you're still single, if they know how to kind of have the right words to say to you, and plus it's comfortable, right? You already know the person. It's easier to get pulled in because they already really know what to say. And so I want to give you a couple of tips on what to do when this ex does text you and how to handle it, okay? Number one, you need to be aware of when it happens. Now, for me, I noticed that usually a ex texts me around the holidays or a birthday. Okay. Number two, it seems like right when I'm talking to a really good guy, like a guy that probably could be really good for me, it's like they have a radar. It is crazy. Everybody comes out the woodworks. It is insane. Number three, it's probably going to be around when you are in a weak spot. So maybe like you haven't had any type of intimacy. And I don't mean just sex. I mean, as far as like you haven't gone on a date, you're not talking to anybody. You are kind of in, I hate to say a desperate mode, but more of a vulnerable mode. Usually when these three things are going on, or one of them are going on, this is usually when that text comes in. The reason why I think you really need to be aware of that, because you have to ask yourself, okay, is the enemy bringing this thing back in my life to try to distract me? Is it a situation where, you know what, I need to be prayerful and discerning about this, because maybe the guy that I'm talking to right now must be everything I pray for, the blessing that God has for me. And once again, the enemy's trying to bring a distraction. So pay attention to your surroundings when it happens. What's happening in your life at the moment? What exactly has kind of pulled this type of energy back in your life? Realize where you are in your life at that time, and it'll help you wonder, like, why is this coming out of nowhere? Number two, remember why you stopped talking to them. Now, my memory used to be pretty horrible. It's still kind of horrible. And I used to actually write down why I love a person and why I don't need to talk to them anymore. You need to remember why you stopped talking to them, and or why they stopped talking to you, and how they felt, and how they may have possibly how they made you feel, and how they hurt you in that situation. Many times if I stop and I'm like, okay, this person texts me and I'm like, oh, I miss them, and oh, they were so cute, or, you know, whatever it may be. And then I stop myself and I'm like, wait a minute, but why did we stop talking? Because he was unfaithful, because he was mean and aggressive, because he lied to me the whole time, because he was insensitive, you know, just whatever it was. And it's not a way of like bringing back up anger or bringing back up any type of bitterness. You forgive them. You have to forgive them, because we all need forgiveness, and God can't forgive you unless you forgive them. And I actually have another video on forgiveness if you are struggling with that. But it's not more so you rehashing it to bring on anger. It's more so of using wisdom. You know, God talks about how in regards to forgiveness and going to somebody 2 or 3 times, trying to correct them about a behavior that they need to change. And he even says in his word that if they're not willing to change, you need to walk away. If you already know things that they've done, they haven't changed, there's no reason for you to still be talking to them or reconcile with them. Leave them where they are. Now, how you decide to respond to that is up to you when they do text you, whether you want to ignore it or you want to respond. That's the number 3 thing I want to go over is you got to ask yourself, do I ignore? Do I respond? This is how you decide on that. Number 1, you have to ask yourself, if I write them back and they don't write me back, will it do something to my feelings? Will that make me feel like I was pulled right back in and they hurt me again? Or let's say y'all do talk for a little bit, but nothing has changed and they're saying the same things and then you're back reeled in. Will you feel hurt and upset about that? Will that put you in a space that is uncomfortable and push you back in a hurting space? Like, the older I get, I love peace, especially all the things I've gone through and not having peace. Now that I have peace, I don't want anything to take that away. So you need to ask yourself, is this going to take away my peace writing them back? Is this going to draw an energy that I don't want in my life right now, especially if you see they haven't changed? So ask yourself that. Also within on if you ignore or respond is, have you healed? So it's some people in my life that I've healed from. I could care less if they text me. And sometimes I do respond so that they realize Nothing has changed on my end. If you haven't changed, there's no room for us to talk. And I try to make it clear to them, and I do it in a cordial way, like, hey, nothing really is different that you're talking about. I do hope things are going well for you. I'm just not interested in talking. Now, those that I'm still hurt from, I'm honest with them, and I say, hey, I really prefer us not to talk. I'm still healing about some things, not in that place. I have done that to you before, and I felt like I was taking care of me. It is okay to take care of you. Don't have in your mind like, oh, well, I feel bad if I don't text him back. That's rude. Was he thinking about you when he broke up with you, or when he was cheating on you, or when he just decided to be insensitive? And I don't mean, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes you need to stop and take care of you. That it's not selfish. It's not wrong. You are doing what is giving you peace. Take care of you. If they have to be ignored, that's okay. God knows that you're not doing it out of anger or bitterness. You're doing it out of wisdom, and that is fine. So you do need to ask yourself these things on what should you ignore, should you respond, based on the fact that if you are still hurting, based on the fact, do you even want to have a conversation with them? It's going to take you out of your energy or space or peaceful energy. And then also realizing, like, is it going to kind of mess you up in regards to your process of healing, talking to them? So you know what you can handle. Some people I ignore. Some people I respond to. You know your relationship you have with the person, so you can decide off of that, okay? Number 4, you need to know how they reel you in. Now, remember, they know you. They know what to say. They know exactly the words that you want to hear. They know how to make you laugh. They know how to pull you in as if nothing has happened. It did happen, though. Be aware of that it's tactics that is being used to pull you back in. And the thing is, you have to ask yourself, too, why are they trying to reel me in? What do they really want? And I've asked people that, and that usually gets them to stop talking to me. When I say, like, honestly, hey, how you doing? But no offense, but what exactly do you want? Because that will automatically show you why they're really texting you. Are they texting you just because they want intimacy? Are they texting you just because they're bored? Are they texting you because they're just trying to come back to you because the person they're with now is not working, or maybe they're in an argument? Ask them up front, what do they want? That will help you take away a lot of your time and a lot of wasted conversation. I have done that, and it helped me to not even get reeled in, because you'll talk to them and you're thinking all things are well, and then you realize they're saying the same mess that they used to say. Know what they do. You know what each ex does. You know exactly what they do. Don't allow yourself to fall into that trap. Allow yourself to keep moving on. So be aware of how they reel you in, and make sure to automatically ask them, what are their intentions? Why are they texting you again? Now, sometimes, especially if they're immature, or sometimes narcissistic, they will come back and like, I was just texting you to see how you were doing. Why you being so mean and cold? You're not being mean and cold. You taking care of you. And that's the 5th thing I want to talk about. You need to have some worth about yourself that you feel you have. And I talk about that in another podcast in regards to, when you don't think you're beautiful enough, or that you're worthy enough when it comes to dating. You are worthy enough, and you deserve better. No matter how he responds in regards to being upset because you decided to take up for yourself, that's okay. I know what I deserve. I know what I will never take again in my life. And I know how I should be treated, and I expect nothing less. And I feel like if a person cannot do that, they better not ever expect me to be serious with them. And some people you just don't need to be involved with at all, especially if they bring in some type of harm, taking peace out of your life. You are worthy of a good man that loves you, who is consistent, who has good intentions for you, who's not going back and forth, who's not some random ex that texts you off and on, who doesn't just come to you because they want to have sex with you. You do not deserve that. And you need to remind yourself of that. You don't deserve it. Ignore that text. If you decide to respond, make sure you're responding in a way of making sure you know their intentions, and making sure to take up for yourself. You need to know how they reel you in. You need to pay attention to where you are in your life, and if they're coming at a weak moment in your life. And you do need to understand your worth, because that really is what will help you ignore it or respond in a way that you're protecting yourself. I hope this helped you. It does happen quite a bit, and it's so not fun. But I do think that you need to be aware of it so that you can date better and be able to have somebody come in your life that you deserve, because that is the thing too. A lot of times when we give a lot of energy to exes and allow them back in our lives, we usually just prolonging somebody good to come in our lives and what God really has for us. And even if it means as well, many times they come back and they're just messing up your peace and where you are in life. Don't let a random text from your ex break away that peace and or hinder what God has for you. Till next time, God bless.